WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly,
the longest-running pro wrestling radio talk show in the history of terrestrial radio.
And he's obviously Michael Cole.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
Talking wrestling.
Yeah.
Because that's what this show's about. That's what we've been doing for over 16 years.
No. It's about sports entertainment.
And now here are your hosts of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon Derry and Lucas DeSangro.
Will you stop marking out over there?
Sorry.
Move over, kid. I'm taking your microphone.
You're shallow, you know that?
I'm running on 2 hours of sleep. I don't remember what the hell I do anymore. There's the sound of the bell, and we are set to go. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you, flying solo today as Lucas is lamenting the loss of the tag titles by the Hardy Boys. Okay, that may or may not be true. No, Lucas is actually doing some yeoman's work, and full disclosure, I am as well, as this is being pre-recorded, as both Lucas and I are actually at the Monster Factory for a birthday party. Yeah, we can get more into that a little bit later, but yes, we're working a birthday party that started at 11, and that would interfere with the broadcast proceedings here, and since it was found out about fairly late, and since a lot of our other folks over at the MFPW are currently down at the old ECW arena, the 2300 arena, for the big Wildkat Sports event coming up tonight at the arena. They're helping set up and get everything together. Had to do a little bit of shuffling, had to do a little bit of rescheduling to kind of make things work for everybody here. So for that reason, well, I'm live on tape, but that doesn't mean that we still can't have a little fun, talk about a few things here, as we tend to do here on the show. We've got the results to the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. We'll go over that in just a moment here. Also, an interesting presence from that pay-per-view, courtesy of a Major League Baseball team. Also, a little interesting story involving Impact Wrestling and a possible cat out of the bag in terms of the Hall of Fame for this year. Who knows? Also, the Nature Boy, he has been Nation styling, profiling, and apparently fighting. At least that's what he's got you to believe here. We'll tell you more about that. Also, goodness gracious, we'll talk about this upcoming WWE pay-per-view in July that had a little bit of legal wranglings and things like that. Also, an unfortunate story regarding a WWE Hall of Famer. And we'll talk a little bit about the Raw ratings. Thankfully, better news than there has been in the past. Plus, we'll also talk the usual stuff, birthdays and the Today in Wrestling history and everything else of that nature. But first, let's get into Extreme Rules from this past Sunday. The pre-show, the kickoff, Kalisto beating Apollo Crews in just a little under 10 minutes. Certainly a great match with that here. Then to the main part of the show, where we had the Intercontinental Championship leading off, and The Miz, your 7-time Intercontinental Champion, as he defeated Dean Ambrose by pinfall. The one differing pick between Lucas and I, and of course I got that one right. The 7th Intercontinental title reign for The Miz. Only one person has more than him, and that would be Chris Jericho, who had 9 title reigns. And another interesting fact, The Miz, with that reign over the course of this week, actually has gone to 11th all-time in number of combined days as Intercontinental Champion. He is currently at 358 days, which puts him 11th on the list. He is next chasing 397 by Wade Barrett between his 5 title reigns. Still quite a ways to go, though, as he's a little more than halfway to that record holder, who would be none other than... Yeah, I'll give you a minute to think about it. No, it's not the Honky Tonk Man. He had his 1 title reign that was 454 days. That's the most solo. No, not quite the Don Morocco. Not quite the Rock Don Morocco. He had his 2 title reigns for a grand total of 541 days. It would be that Pedro Morales with Booyaka, 619 days under 2 total reigns as Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion back then. going way, way back. The first of those reigns back in December of 1980 for 194 days, losing it to Don Morocco, who held it for 156 days, and then Morales winning it back in November of 81 and going on to hold it for 425 days until losing it back to Morocco in January of 83. So between the two of them, they held the title for over 3 consecutive years, just trading back and forth between December of 1980 before Morocco eventually losing it to Arriba, Tito Santana, back in February of 84. Some interesting Intercontinental title trivia there. Going back to the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, the mixed tag team match, Rich Swann and Sasha Banks beating Noam Dar and Alicia Fox. We both had that one correct. Alexa Bliss pinning Bayley in the kendo stick on a pole match to retain the Raw Women's Championship. And we got that one good. And then the pay-per-view took a turn for the negative in terms of our picks. But, yeah, first the cage match for the Raw Tag titles. Sheamus and Cesaro defeating the Hardys just narrowly to win the Raw Tag Team Championship. Neither of us got that one right. The Cruiserweight title is still held by Neville as he defeated Austin Aries in that submission match. And capping out the pay-per-view, the Fatal 5-Way number 1 contender match for the Universal Championship. Samoa Joe with the Coquina Clutch defeating Finn Balor, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Bray Wyatt. So he now has a Universal title match coming up against Brock Lesnar. That should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that coming up. So I went 3-3 for the pay-per-view, as we had both picked Finn Balor in that main event. Lucas going 2-4, so that moves my lead up to 4 picks. I am 32-16 for 2017. Lucas 28-20. So not too shabby, all things considered. Both over 500. And we'll see as a lot of pay-per-view events coming your way over the course of the next month and change. Yeah, it's been kind of jam-packed over the course of the last few weeks. As 3 weeks ago, we had the Backlash pay-per-view event. And then, of course, this past Sunday, we had Extreme Rules. Coming up 1 week from tomorrow is WWE Money in the Bank. And then 2 weeks after that, you've got Impact's Slammiversary. And then 1 week after that, you've got WWE's Great Balls of Fire. And goodness gracious, yeah, we'll go ahead and get into this here before we take our first time out. Jerry Lawler's latest Dinner with the King podcast with co-host Glenn Moore had some insight regarding this upcoming pay-per-view and the legal wranglings behind it.
I want your opinion on this pay-per-view coming up for Raw. It's in 5 weeks. The title of it is based on a song that was recorded in Memphis, Tennessee, a very, very well-known musical artist, and Jerry Lee Lewis. Great Balls of Fire. Now,
the way you say that, you don't even say it right. It's Great Balls of Fire. It's not Great Balls of Fire. It's you don't put the emphasis on the word balls in that song. The emphasis should be on the word fire.
Well,
Great Balls of Fire.
I'm saying it because it's like, I mean, you have some cool pay-per-view names back in the day. You know, WWE had, Armageddon. WCW had a couple of, Starrcade, Halloween Havoc. Some good pay-per-view names. Great Balls of Fire. I don't get it.
Well, you know what? At first, I didn't get it either. But did you see Raw? Or did you see the promo for it on Raw? I love the promo.
Oh, the promo was great. Yeah.
Yes. When you and I'm not going to say a lot about it, but my personal attorney here in Memphis is Joe Barton.
Okay.
A good friend of mine, an attorney, and I got a phone call from Joe a few weeks ago, and Joe also represents Jerry Lee Lewis. And Joe said, "Hey, Jerry, do you happen to know who I would contact at the WWE about copyright infringement?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "Well, we understand that they're doing a pay-per-view called Great Balls of Fire, and Jerry Lee has that phrase trademarked.
Yeah,
he has ever since they recorded the song. So Anyway, I put him in touch with the WWE people or gave him a name, and I apparently called him and got everything worked out. So they are now not only are they using the name Great Balls of Fire for the promo of the show, they're actually using Jerry Lee's song, which was awesome. I mean, it was a great song, big hit, and I like you, I didn't really realize or didn't really think, how does that tie into wrestling? But then when you watch the promo for it, it was awesome. It was really good. It made me want to watch the pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's just funny, hearing guys, say "Great Balls of Fire" on, pumping up, the pay-per-view on TV.
That's because you always think below the waist. What's wrong with you, Glenn? Great Balls of Fire.
Great balls.
Well, of course,
of fire.
I mean, yeah.
Well,
Vince has been known to talk about his grapefruits in the past a lot on the show. So I guess that that may have been the thinking for these Great Balls of Fire. I'm not sure.
Well, perhaps those grapefruits were a little too expressive. As another interesting note, WWE had changed the logo for that July 9th pay-per-view. As the initial logo, a streaking flame with two global orbs at the end, looked a bit too much like the equivalent of a genetic jackhammer and its accompanying grapefruits, and was the subject of many online jokes and memes, so they opted to something a little bit, dare I say, more classy. So, good on you, WWE. Way to get the joke there, and that's about as far as I'm going to take that without getting into some sort of trouble. Anyway, we're going to take care of our first time out here, and we'll come back and got some more news and notes coming your way. And also, of course, I got to let you know about our friends over at George's Cards and Collectibles. They've got more signings coming your way, including 1 week from today. That would be next Saturday, June 17th, from 10:30 a.m. until 12 noon. Phillies catching prospect Jorge Alfaro will appear at the Neshaminy Mall Sports Cards and Collectibles Show. Plus, there'll be two appearances coming up Saturday, July 8th, from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. Former WWE stars King Kong Bundy and one half of the Vaudevillains, Simon Gotch. George's has two locations for all of your cards and collectibles needs. Their original store at 7755 New Falls Road in Levittown, and in the Neshaminy Mall at the Movie Theater Wing. For more information, go to georgescollectibles.com and follow George's Cards and Collectibles on Facebook. Alongside, pretty much me here, and of course Ted Efaw turning the dials and keeping us on the air here as he's got Country Roads coming up at the top of the hour. I'm Fearon Derry. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Do you have ringing, hissing, buzzing, or pulsing in your ears? Then you are probably suffering from tinnitus. Over 60 million Americans experience tinnitus. That's 1 in 5 people. You don't have to just live with it. Take control of your tinnitus and rediscover life without constant ringing in your ears by calling the Hearing Center of Bucks County at 215-310-5237. Find out about the brand new, state-of-the-art AGX Tinnitus Management System. The tinnitus experts at the Hearing Center of Bucks County, celebrating over 30 years of providing outstanding personalized hearing care, will evaluate if this new technology solution is appropriate for you. Find out if this is your answer for ringing in the ears. Call the Hearing Center of Bucks County at 215-310-5237. Online at buckscountyhearing.com.
There's a threat targeting America. Lyme disease. Spread by tiny ticks, this dangerous disease can cause life-changing health problems and is now more widespread than West Nile, tuberculosis, and HIV/AIDS combined. So it's time for us to target Lyme disease. That means checking for ticks when you've been outside and seeing a doctor if you experience the warning signs, which can include joint pain and flu-like symptoms. Learn how you can target Lyme disease at targetlyme.org. Brought to you by the Stephen and Alexandra Cohen Foundation and this station.
Join former Phillies All-Stars Ricky Bottalico and Tommy Green along with host John Brazier for the Baseball Insider Show presented by SEPTA immediately following Phillies baseball this Sunday right here on 1490 WBCB and video stream live at WBCB1490.com.
You won't see termites crawling across your floor, but thousands might be devouring the wood in your walls, weakening the structure of your home. For over 50 years, termite proofing and pest control of the Delaware Valley has been in the exterminating business. If you think you have a pest problem, they're the experts. Call them today at 215-639-5455. That's 215-639-5455 for TPPC. Termite proofing and pest control of the Delaware Valley gives your home or business peace of mind, knowing your pest problem is in their hands. Located at 1560 Bristol Pike in Bensalem, they use only EPA-approved material applied by licensed technicians. Call Termite Proofing and Pest Control of the Delaware Valley at 215-639-5455.
Catch the Baseball Insider Show presented by SEPTA live from Blue Duck on Broad, located at 220 South Broad Street next to the Bellevue this Sunday following Phillies baseball. Blue Duck on Broad is the perfect blend of your neighborhood eatery with gourmet food options. Blue Duck on Broad is the new hot spot for both lunch and dinner with their award-winning beef burger and unique menu options like bacon-wrapped wild boar meatloaf. Blue Duck on Broad even offers outdoor seating on a nice day overlooking City Hall. Blue Duck on Broad at 220 South Broad Street will offer you and your guests delicious dishes with a playful twist. Stop by this Sunday following Phillies baseball for the Baseball Insider Show and see for yourself. Blue Duck on Broad, Philadelphia's new lunch and dinner hotspot.
See, I just got the Luigi death stare from Fearon, so we might have to...
I didn't give you the Luigi death stare. That's not true.
You're breaking kayfabe.
Breaking kayfabe. Gonna break something else during this commercial.
There we go. That's
right.
what I like to see.
And now, more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your hosts, Fearon Derry and Lucas DeSangro.
Are we getting into that controversy again?
I know how it feels, and it's not fun.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here, flying solo, although flying, I guess, on a spinning disc, as really the one doing the flying is Ted Efaw, who's turned the dials and pushing the buttons. I am currently down at the Monster Factory assisting with a birthday party, as is Lucas, and therefore... yeah, full disclosure, this is live on tape, as it were. And also, we'll be gearing up right after that, heading on down to the 2300 Arena at the corner of Swanson and Rittner in South Philadelphia for Wildkat Sports Wrestling, the promotion run by Luke Hawks. It's making its debut here in the Philadelphia area at the 2300 Arena tonight. So you'll see names like Luke Hawks as well as Stevie Richards, Homicide, plus many of the stars of the MFPW as well. For tickets and more information, visit wildcatwrestling.com. That's WILDKAT wrestling.com. And you'll be able to get the info and tickets and all that there. And hopefully we'll see you out there tonight. I'm not sure what my role will be, but I'm sure whatever it is, it'll certainly be a fun and memorable experience, and we'll definitely talk about it next week when we're back live on the air here. And, of course, we'll be gearing up for the MFPW returning next week, and we'll talk a little bit more about that coming up here in the hour. We'll take a look at other news, notes, and other things. Going back to the Extreme Rules pay-per-view from this past Sunday, the Baltimore Orioles had a recognizably unrecognizable presence in the front row, as Baltimore Orioles center fielder Adam Jones was among a crew of 8 in attendance at the event, and they were all dressed as WWE stars from the past. Of course, it was noted on camera as Adam Jones was depicted, and he didn't break character as he was stone-faced with his arms crossed, dressed as notable bodyguard Virgil. The rest of the crew, which included the Orioles bullpen catcher Jeff Ruiz and 3 other clubhouse attendants, they were depicted as the Big Boss Man, Razor Ramon, the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, the Mouth of the South Jimmy Hart, Booker T, Erwin R. Shyster, better known as IRS, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, Jones, a huge WWE fan, he's had some other encounters with WWE. At the May 2015 Payback pay-per-view, the New Day pointed to Adam Jones in the front row of the audience and taunted him about the Orioles not having won a World Series since 1983, which I can't say I remember too well, but I know people here in this area do, as the Orioles beat the Phillies to do so. Grumble, grumble. Earlier that same day, Jones caught the first pitch, or the ceremonial first pitch, thrown by Seth Rollins, And also for the past few years, Jones has presented the WWE Championship that was given to him by the WWE back in 2013 to the winner of the annual Major League Baseball Home Run Derby. Now, going back to this past Sunday, even the real Virgil himself was impressed with Jones' showing, tweeting out Sunday night, quote, "Real recognizing real at simply AJ10. I can count your stacks all day, brother. Hashtag Extreme Rules." End quote. So even Virgil getting the tweet out there to show some love for Adam Jones of the Baltimore Orioles. I don't think we'll be seeing any Phillies doing that anytime soon. Although, hey, July 23rd, just saying, Battleground's going to be here in Philly. And they're hosting the Brewers that day, the Milwaukee Brewers, which you can hear right here on 1490 WBCB, of course. I don't know. It might not be a bad idea for a sports doubleheader there. I'll have to kind of put the plan of that into works. The Phillies game at 1:35, and then head out of Citizens Bank Park, head across the street to the Wells Fargo Center, and gear up for Battleground later that night. That sounds like a hell of a day. I'll have to definitely put that under consideration. And you can too. Hey, maybe we'll make it a party. Who knows? Crazier things have happened. All right, I'll have to let Twitch know about that. Stream of consciousness, gotta love it here. It's all fun here. Speaking of stream of consciousness, somebody probably should have utilized it in Impact Wrestling, just in case they might have let something a little cat out of the bag, dare I say. They've been interviewing different personalities, past and present, leading up to their Slammiversary pay-per-view event on July 2nd, celebrating 15 years of what used to be TNA, now known as Impact Wrestling. Oddly enough, James Storm was asked about the Hall of Fame, and Storm had this to say.
You know, a lot of people, they keep saying to me, man, you deserve to go into the Hall of Fame, and I'm just like, no, I'm not ready. To me, someone who goes into the Hall of Fame, that kind of means that they're kind of at the end of their run. I'm not done yet, So I think this year it's going to be a toss-up. Every year you can kind of guess who it's going to be, and you kind of get close. This year, I don't think anybody's going to guess it.
So the question is, was that Impact Wrestling tipping their hand, or was that them throwing a red herring out there? So I don't know. I guess we'll find out later this year who will join Sting, Kurt Angle, Team 3D, Jeff Jarrett, Earl Hebner, and Gail Kim in the Impact Wrestling Hall of Fame. Will it be Storm? Could it be somebody else? Did Impact let the cat out of the proverbial bag early? Well, time will tell, but I don't know. I think that might be, speaking of tells, that might be what is considered a tell if you're in the poker community there. Anyway, somebody who's used to other high-profile things of that nature, Ric Flair. That's right, he's styling and profiling, and although in this case maybe not so much, as he went to social media to show off injuries that he suffered on Sunday, including facial lacerations and a cast on his right hand, presumably from a broken pinky. Flair joking, quote, "One Warrior fan down, left hand still good, be in the land on Wednesday," referring to Cleveland. Rihanna, move over and let the Nate show you how it's done. No pain, no gain. Let's do it, Cavs. Woo! That was after Game 2 this past Sunday of the NBA Championship Finals, when Golden State went up 2-0 in that best-of-7 series. Cleveland avoided the sweep last night with a 137-116 win to make the series 3-1, Golden State leading. Game 5 is Monday night in Oakland. Now we'll go to weather here on WBCB. I just felt like I turned that into a sports update. I don't know. An update on the Raw ratings that I do have here. Raw rebounding to a 2.04, up from the abysmal 1.75 from last week. Raw averaging just under 3 million viewers at 2.994 million, up 382,000 from last week's average. It was WWE's best Raw rating since April. Their only major television competition was the NHL Stanley Cup final game between the Nashville Predators and Pittsburgh Penguins. Yeah, it does feel very sportsy. I don't know. I kind of throw things out there and see where they stick. Also, a story that I missed last week, some unfortunate news out of Missouri, as WWE Hall of Famer Harley Race broke both of his legs after falling at his home a week and a half ago. The WWE website reports that the 74-year-old legend fractured his right femur, broke his left fibula and tibia, and had a spiral break of his left ankle. Race underwent surgery last Friday to reset the fractures, and everybody sending out thoughts, condolences, prayers, and everything else to a speedy recovery for the Hall of Famer Handsome Harley Race. Well, it's otherwise been kind of a laid-back week here, so what we're going to do is a little bit of a look back and kind of something fun to bring out every once in a while. I have footage from an interview that I did with none other than WWE's Titus O'Neil back in March of 2014, a little over 3 years ago, and figured we'd dust that out from the archives and be able to take care of that here in the third segment, just to, again, kind of shake things up a little bit here, and because every once in a while you have, I'll admit it, kind of a slow news week. We'll have a little bit more to talk about next week as we get into the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and we'll get into a lot of that. Also, the banter will be back as Lucas scheduled to join us here, although who knows, he is a celebrity as he constantly totes here. But I did want to take this time to let you know about a couple of things. Firstly, the MFPW returning to the world-famous Monster Factory at 541 Mantua Avenue in Paulsboro, New Jersey, 1 week from tonight. That's right, Saturday, June 17th. You'll see Josh Briggs along with Rico De La Vega taking on Dobbs, accompanied by Rocco. Also, Burke and Bender, they face The Fellowship, Plunket the Ogre, and the Red Scorpion. Nick Camarado squares off with Chad Kensington. Primal Fear gets a shot at the MFPW Tag Team titles held by the Money in the Miles, whom we've seen on Impact Wrestling, Mario Bocora and Fala Ba. Also, Mikey Webb defends the MFPW Heavyweight title against Royal Money, one half of Paid in Full. Plus, you'll see the debut of Ring of Honor star Joey Daddiego. All this and more 1 week from tonight at the MFPW Arena, 541 Mantua Avenue in Paulsboro, New Jersey. Tickets are available now at eventbrite.com. Doors open at 5:30. Check out the MFPW and all things Monster Factory on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, plus at monsterfactory.org. And check out past matches, bios, bloopers, and more at the mfnetwork.com. And as I kind of mentioned earlier, and part of the reason why I'm not currently live in studio is because of the fact that the factory also does birthday parties. That's right, birthday parties, bachelor parties. Your group gets the chance to step between the ropes and get in the ring, as some basic moves will be shown to you by the wrestlers. And also, well, you'll get to see a match right there live put on by the students at the Monster Factory. So certainly a lot of fun. You've even gotten to see me in a few matches. How crazy is that? So you never know. Definitely check that out, and you can get more information about that at the various sources from the Monster Factory. And one other fun thing to let you know about. Things are getting bigger and better at the Broken Goblet Brewery, 1500 Grundy's Lane in Bristol, PA. It has been announced, whether it be monsoon or shine, Saturday, July 15th from 3 to 8 p.m., it is the anniversary party known as Goblet Stock. That's right, over 25 beers, food trucks, live music, and it's free to attend. Plus, coming up on June 16th, that would be this coming Friday, is the next bottle release called 11 Minutes. It is a Belgian wit brewed with rosemary. Plus, starting this Tuesday, June 13th, the Broken Goblet is expanding its hours. Oh, yes, that's right. The Broken Goblet is now open Tuesdays from 5 till 11 p.m. Same with Wednesdays and Thursdays. Fridays are still 3 to midnight. Saturdays are still noon to midnight. Sundays are now noon till 8 p.m. So there you go. You can do a little pre-gaming for your pay-per-view events, or get a few bottles for the parties at home, whatever your choice is there. But now you have until 8 p.m. as opposed to 5 previously. And to celebrate the change in hours for one day only, this coming Tuesday, June 13th, you'll see the return of the Broken Goblet's Crazy Hot Dogs, John McClane and Uncle Paul. That's right, the John McClane, the hot dog made with bacon, cheddar cheese, and sriracha sauce, and the more infamous Uncle Paul, the hot dog with peanut butter and jelly. It's always a good time at the Broken Goblet Brewery, 1500 Grundy's Lane in Bristol, PA. Broken Goblet Brewing, the semi-official brewery of Pro Wrestling Weekly. Please enjoy responsibly. And we're going to take care of our second bit of business here, and then we'll come back and we'll get into Today in Wrestling History, also the birthdays, and an archived interview with Titus O'Neil here on Pro Wrestling Weekly on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Bristol Riverside Theater kicks off their 2017 Summer Music Fest with Rosemary Clooney and Friends, Come On at My House, June 15th through the 25th. Known as the Golden Age of Pop, the 1950s gave a whole new meaning to the term girl power. You'll be dancing in the aisles in the pop music of the 50s with songs from Doris Day, Patti Page, K-Star, Teresa Brewer, and of course Rosemary Clooney, just to name a few. For tickets, visit brtstage.org or call 215-785-0100.
Hi, this is Smiling Lou Powers, here to invite you to join us every Wednesday as we broadcast Sunshine Music Memories live from the Philadelphia Protestant Home in the Northeast. We'll be playing the music that you remember in a setting you will love. Philadelphia Protestant Home is located at 6500 Tabor Road in the Northeast, and I will be there live every Wednesday, 10 a.m. till noon. Come out and listen, dance, and make some new friends. Sunshine Music Memories live from the Philadelphia Protestant Home every Wednesday at 10 a.m.
All commentators heard on WBCB express their own views. Their opinions are not necessarily those of others on WBCB, including the staff and management.
Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker asking you to join me and former Phillies slugger Greg the Bull Luzinski for the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session presented by Gage Fiore, attorneys at FightForYou.com. Every Monday, 6 to 7 p.m., we'll talk Phillies baseball with a different guest each week. Go to WBCB1490.com to check show locations and guest information each week. The Independence Blue Cross Bull Session, presented by Gage Fiore, attorneys at FightForYou.com, every Monday at 6 p.m. on 1490 WBCB and 610 Sports.
The Trenton Thunder, AA affiliate of the New York Yankees, are back for their 24th season of play on the banks of the Delaware River at Arm & Hammer Park. Join us for Super Value Tuesdays, where kids eat for free and all fans can purchase $1 hot dogs. Join us after the game for fireworks on select Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights throughout the summer. Tickets start at just $11, and groups of 20 or more can get tickets for $8 each. Visit TrentonThunder.com for more information.
Pro Wrestling Weekly presents Today in Wrestling History, June 10. On this date in 1996, WCW Monday Nitro aired live from Wheeling, West Virginia. In the main event, Lex Luger and Sting fought Ric Flair and Arn Anderson to a no contest. On this date in 2002, WWE Monday Night Raw aired live from Atlanta, Georgia. In the main event, Mr. McMahon pinned Ric Flair in a no-holds-barred match. On this date in 2005, the Independent Hardcore Homecoming Reunion Supercard was held in the ECW Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. In the main event, Sabu defeated Shane Douglas and Terry Funk in a barbed wire three-way dance. On this date in 2012, TNA held its Slammiversary pay-per-view. In the main event, Bobby Roode pinned Sting to retain the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. This has been Today in Wrestling History, June 10. Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry flying solo today. Lucas is at the MFPW Arena, and technically I am as well, working a birthday party for the Monster Factory, but figured I would bring you this little tidbit here from about 3.25 years ago, taking a trip in the Wayback Machine to 2014 when had the honor and distinction of talking with WWE's Titus O'Neil. And I've got that interview for you here. And then on the other side, we'll wrap things up with birthdays and take a look at what's going on next week and whatnot. But without further ado, here is that interview from March of 2014 with Titus O'Neil. 1490 WBCB, Pro Wrestling Weekly. We're here with Titus O'Neil, WWE superstar, getting ready to talk about, well, this is just a great time in wrestling in general. You've got the Road to WrestleMania coming this Sunday to Trenton, as well as WrestleMania coming up in a couple weeks. Titus, how are you?
I'm excellent. How are you, Fearon?
Not too bad, hanging in there. Just so many things to, I guess, talk about. I don't know whether we want to talk about, well, I guess we should talk about you first, because as big as you are, I'd get my butt kicked otherwise. So, yeah, definitely. I mean, just coming off of, well, I guess we'll go back to the beginning. How about that? How'd you get started in wrestling? What made you want to get into wrestling?
Well, it's been pretty well documented. Dave Bautista, who's a very close friend of mine, kind of encouraged me, about getting into the business. But I was actually more inclined to want to go into coaching, and I was driving in South Tampa one day, and he had told me what a developmental system was, which was FCW at the time. Now it's called NXT. And I just walked in the back door and said, hey, I'm interested in becoming a WWE superstar. Who do I need to speak to? And they told me, well, Steve Kearn's the guy you're going to have to talk to, but he's not here. So you're going to have to come back. We have a show this evening if you want to come back to that. So I went and got my kids from school, asked them if they wanted to go to a wrestling match. We went to the wrestling match, and afterwards, I said, well, I asked my oldest son, TJ, well, would you want me to do this? And he said, absolutely. And so I talked with Steve, and about 15 minutes after I left the facility, WWE called me and told me they were going to let me try out, and the rest is history. So I had no intentions on becoming a wrestler, and if I wasn't picking up dry cleaning in South Tampa, I probably still wouldn't have been wrestling.
How about that? Now, did you watch wrestling as a kid at all, or did
I watched it every Saturday morning with my grandmother. It was a religious activity, to say the least. Nobody could talk, go outside, do anything. You had to sit down, watch wrestling, and eat. She always cooked a huge breakfast for us that day, and we were allowed to watch the Smurfs. We watched He-Man, and then after that went off, wrestling came on, and it was wrestling time.
Smurfs, He-Man, and Superstars. Sounds like a perfect day.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a couple of years younger than you, so that sounds pretty much akin to what I did. Same type of deal. Now, what was the transition like going from football to wrestling?
Athletically, the transition is about the same. It wasn't as hard because you're still running and jumping and things like that, but now you're trying to do it and operating within a 20 by 20 range. And I was a defensive lineman, so I was accustomed to operating in short spaces. So being in condition and stuff like that wasn't an issue. It's just learning the psychology, which I'm still learning, developing as a character. All these things take time. People say, you want to be the next Rock, you want to be the next Stone Cold Steve Austin. No, I want to be the next Titus O'Neil. I want to be the present Titus O'Neil. I draw a lot of what I'd like to do and the success that I'd like to have from those guys. But at the same token, people have to understand, including myself, that was a process with them too. They didn't just become The Rock. They didn't just become Stone Cold Steve Austin. It was a process. And that's what I'm in right now, is the process of becoming the person that I want to be in this business. And I look forward. I'm enjoying the journey. It's been very up and down, but it's been an enjoyable experience, to say the least.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun checking you out, seeing that progression. I mean, going from, as you said, FCW to NXT. Actually, I did want to kind of get into that a little bit. The what felt like the winter up here in the Pennsylvania area, the endless season that was NXT Redemption. What was that experience like?
Well, it was supposed to go from between 6 and 8 weeks, and it ended up going over a year. And so I wasn't complaining because it gave me an opportunity to be on the road every week, and and also, repetition and practice, doesn't make perfect, but it definitely puts you in better position to be experienced. And that's what I was lacking and still am lacking in for the most part. It's just experience. The more you do anything, the better you're going to get at it if you have an aptitude to learn. And so NXT Redemption gave me that opportunity to grow as a character and become more and more comfortable in the ring, more and more comfortable behind a microphone, more and more comfortable on commentary, more and more comfortable in every aspect of being a WWE superstar. So I'm very thankful for that extra time that was supposed to be 6 to 8 weeks being extended, because it gave me an opportunity to grow as a performer.
And boy, did it grow! 15 months. That's that's a lot of development, to say the least.
I was the John Cena of the NXT brand. I would carry the brand.
That's not a bad tag to have, definitely.
Not at all.
Now, speaking of tags, you spent a good amount of time over the last year and a half or so, up until recently, as part of the Primetime Players. Obviously, I know things have gone a bit awry since then, obviously leading to not necessarily a blow-off of the feud, because it's still going all the way up through this Sunday, in fact. We'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, this Sunday you're taking on Darren Young.
Yeah, I still got some more ass kicking to give out to him before WrestleMania. I need to practice and get ready for this 30-man battle royal. So, yeah, I'll be there on Sunday, tuning up with Darren. Obviously, he hasn't learned his lesson yet. He keeps coming back for more, so I'll be more than happy to give him some more.
And I think a lot of people are certainly looking forward to that. Now, you're part of the 30-man Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal coming up at WrestleMania in a couple weeks. I believe this is your first WrestleMania as far as being on the card. How does that feel?
Yes,
what was your reaction when you found out that you were going to be part of it and be on the Mania card? I mean, that I can only imagine what that reaction is. Kind of like,
I'm still very excited, because I've been with the company now for 4 years. And, it's always been a goal, to be on the card in any particular way. But to be in a Memorial Cup celebrating one of the most dominant big man, if not the most dominant big man to ever be in WWE, in an event as huge as WrestleMania 30, being hosted by Hulk Hogan himself. All the great legends will be back. All eyes are on the product at that point. I'm going to a place where I won a national championship in New Orleans in the Superdome. It's just a lot of surreal feelings about this situation. It's the hard work and the long hours at NXT and FCW. And there are people that have been with this company for years, longer than I have, that never have that WrestleMania moment. So I'm very honored and very excited about this opportunity coming up.
Oh, that's terrific. Now, if you'll indulge me for a moment, a few of our listeners had chimed in on Facebook with some questions, wanted to kind of throw some rapid-fire ones at you. I don't know how much time you get a chance to watch on the road the WWE Network, which I know just came out a little under a month ago, but do you have a favorite program on the network?
I don't have a favorite program per se, but I would say the one that's probably going to be the most interesting to me is Legends House. I look forward to seeing the entertainment on that with all those characters.
The Legends meets the real world.
On the network.
That should be fun. That's coming out shortly after Mania in a couple weeks, I believe.
Correct.
Right?
Yes, that's what I'm looking forward to is seeing Legends House.
There we go.
But the content that's on the WWE Network is second to any other library of any sorts in the world. So I can go and pull up stuff. My kids were watching, I think, last week, and they were playing the Royal Rumble from last year on there when we logged in, and that was my first Royal Rumble. And so it was pretty cool to see me run out there at number 7 and be in the mix with everyone. The network is definitely one of the coolest things that could have ever happened to any WWE superstar, because now you can go back and relive all kinds of memories, not only of yourself but of people prior to you even being born.
Oh, that's awesome. Here's another question: who were your influences growing up, either inside or outside of wrestling?
Outside of wrestling, I would say my mom has been my biggest influence. She had me at a very young age under an unfortunate situation of circumstance of rape. She was raped. She had the opportunity to abort me, and she refused to do it, even though everybody around her was telling her she should. And she worked hard. She worked hard to try to provide a life for me, and we didn't have anything growing up, in realms of what I have today. And she believed that, she believed in me, and she believed in family. That's just kind of one of the things that drives me to want to be such a great father to my kids, because I've never met my biological father. So I would say my mom, probably a couple of my coaches along the way. Coach Spurrier has been, obviously very influential with me. Coach Billy Donovan has been really good to me too. The head coach of the Florida basketball team. I can always call him up if I'm needing some advice on certain things or help on something. And it's been that way since I left Florida and when I was at Florida. So I would say those people outside of the ring are the most influential. And then inside the ring, Mark Henry, The Big Show, Big Batista, obviously, of course. John Cena's helped me a lot. Randy has helped me a lot. Dolph Ziggler, just about everybody's been very, very cooperative in trying to help me develop as a performer since I've been here. And it's built on respect, and I think I've earned a fair amount of respect from people, considering I never wrestled a day in my life coming into this company, and now, I'm getting ready to perform on the biggest stage of them all at WrestleMania. It's an honor. And I wouldn't have been able to do that without the help of those people.
Wow, it's kind of hard to follow up after something like that. I mean, all that's absolutely tremendous. I mean, to think there was a possibility that you may not be here at all, and now, I mean, here you are, as you said, wrestling in WrestleMania, and just going all over the world.
Yep, very, very humbling.
So I feel bad. The last couple of questions I have are a lot less serious by comparison.
That's fine.
All right, one that was thrown out here. Do you have a preference, either Xbox One or PlayStation 4, rather? So from one of our video game listeners, big.
That's not a question for me. I don't play video games.
Not one of the video gamers. Oh,
I used to be in college. Yeah, I used to be in college. My kids play the hell out of them now, but I don't play them.
Okay, so you're going back to like the N64 those days. I got you.
Yeah, I don't have time. I'm trying to become a champion in this company. I don't have time.
All business. I kind of like that. And the last one was thrown out here, and I almost feel a little bit ashamed to ask it. But what was the deal with Rufus Pancake Patterson?
Oh, that's my uncle. Yeah, he. I enjoy the opportunity to entertain, and obviously, if you watch Monday Night Raw this week, see I enjoy entertaining. Period. That's what this company is. We wrestle some, we entertain a lot, and I think that for me, a thing that has always been very important to me is to be relevant. And sometimes, as long as people are talking about you either way, you're going to stay relevant, good or bad. And I just like to have fun, so that's how that character came about.
It certainly was fun, and it definitely got a lot of people talking. Something else that, we'll be getting a lot of people talking this Sunday. That's right, WWE Live Road to WrestleMania. It's coming up this Sunday, the 23rd, 5 o'clock start at the Sun National Bank Center in Trenton. Tickets are on sale now. You can check them out at the Sun National Bank Center box office, as well as ComcastTix.com. A great lineup. As we mentioned, Titus O'Neil here. You'll be taking on Darren Young, Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio, The Shield and the Wyatts in a six-man tag match. If it's anything like Elimination Chamber, that's going to be off the hook. And then, of course, for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, something that Titus is looking to be going for soon enough. In a steel cage, nonetheless, John Cena against Randy Orton. All this just 2 weeks before WrestleMania 30. It is a great time to be a wrestling fan right now.
Awesome time to be a wrestling fan. Even more awesome time to be a Titus O'Neil fan as well.
It is. Now that you're on your own, you're looking to ascend to great heights, and we're certainly looking forward to it here at WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly. Titus, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate you giving us a few minutes of your time here, and looking forward to seeing you this Sunday, as well as at the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal coming up at WrestleMania 30.
I appreciate your time, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I said it then, I'll say it again. Just an absolute class act is Titus O'Neil. So we've got only a couple of minutes left here, so that means it's time for, birthdays. Well, I got 2 of them and 2 Brucey bonuses just because here. On this date in 1960, Chris Jackson was born. The Mid-Atlantic and East Coast independent wrestler best known as Cue Ball Carmichael turns 57 today. And on this date in 1994, Deonna Purrazzo was born. The well-traveled independent wrestler has also appeared for Ring of Honor, TNA, Impact Wrestling, and WWE, turns 23 today, and certainly a bright future ahead for Deonna Purrazzo. I've gotten to work with her in person, and she's an absolute treat. And the Brucey bonus, I've got 2 of them here, 2 things outside of the world of wrestling. On this date in 1922, Frances Ethel Gum was born. The singer and actress best known as Judy Garland, star of the movie The Wizard of Oz, among many others, died in 1969 at the age of 47. And this is right up Lucas's alley. On this date in 1968, William Frederick Burr was born. The actor, writer, and stand-up comedian from Chappelle's Show and Breaking Bad, better known as Bill Burr, turns 49 today. So happy birthday to all celebrating a birthday today. We'll be back next week previewing the Money in the Bank pay-per-view and also the back and forth that has gone on between one Vince Russo and one James E. Cornette. These two have no love lost for each other, and it looks like it is coming to a boil, at least in some sense. But we'll get into a lot of what they've had to say and see if there's any more that goes on, as we'll bring kind of that chronology coming your way as well. Who knows what other hilarity and hijinks and whatnot. Hope to see you tonight at Wildkat Sports Wrestling down at the 2300 Arena. Also, thank you to Ted Efaw for turning the dials and pushing the buttons and keeping us on the air here. And stay tuned for his Country Road show, a very abbreviated version, just moments away. And until next week, play us out, Nutsy.
1 o'clock and all's well.
Serving you better than ever before. This is 1490 WBCB.